Alexa, louder. All right, good morning, everyone. Give me a quick sound check here. Make sure we are rocking and rolling. And we got the NQ here with a bit of a pulse. Back from the dead. So last time we spoke on Monday, we had a bit of a breakdown. We were under the 21 EMA. We had sell signals. So we did have a short there on the NQ, and we took it off for break even yesterday. That's my system. Below that 21 EMA with sell signals. You short the thing. Back above that 21 EMA with buy signals. You can't be short. Can be a bit painful being short above that 21 with a 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1-hour buy signal. So the video I did last night, when we got a squeeze and we're looking at a chart, and we're trying to gauge, okay, which way do they want to take this squeeze? They want to fire it to the upside. They want to fire it to the downside. We're looking at structure and momentum. Think of structure. Good-looking structure. It's like a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a Rolls-Royce. It's a really good-looking car. Really nice to look at. It's easy on the eyes. When we have no momentum, it's a little bit like a Lamborghini with no gas. It might be good to look at, but we're probably not going anywhere, right? So the structure here for the NQ, it's perfect. 8 EMA above your 21 EMA, 21 above the 50, 50 above the 200, 21 EMA trending higher, the 50 trending higher. Structure is just about as good as it could get. And we got the stacked EMAs. The problem we've had since, call it, really early February, momentum. We got the Lambo. We don't got too much gas. Down there on the big three squeeze histogram, early February, momentum crosses below that zero line. And they try to cross it positive. They try to cross it positive. They try again. Up to this point, we failed to get that positive cross. It's a good-looking car. We ain't got much gas in the tank. So in terms of a breakout and in terms of the next leg to the upside, and for what it's worth, this daily squeeze fire is long. I think we're getting the NQ into about 19,000. The only missing thing has been momentum. Now you'll notice this morning, we're getting that blue arrow down here. All right, blue arrow down here and that blue arrow up there. That's the slingshot signal. That signal prints when the structure is perfect. You've got a good-looking squeeze. And even though momentum is below zero, they're trying to take it higher. Right? They tried back here, never got that positive cross. They tried again back here, never really got that positive cross. The remainder of this week, heading into next week, pretty much the remainder of the month, if they can finally get that positive cross, if they can get and keep momentum above zero, I think a really, really good chance. They're taking out the highs here. And again, that squeeze should fire long for a push towards 19K. And if they can do that, the interesting thing is there's a few tech stocks that I think look a little better than the NQ. One of them being Google. And if anything, Google might be the best looking tech setup of them all. Cream of the crop. Reason being, Google's got structure and momentum. A good example, momentum breaks, and down goes Google. They rebuild the structure. They get that positive cross, and off goes Google. Better yet, we have a perfect weekly squeeze. So again, if they can get the NQ going, get that positive momentum cross, things like Google I think continue to do really well. And there might be a chance here, guys. That squeeze fires long before earnings, and that can kick off a path into about 160 to 165. Another name I like here would be Amazon, the Big's on. Now, Amazon's a little similar. The only benefit here, we're a lot closer to that positive cross than the NQ. Structure's been perfect. You got that negative cross back here. And they don't take Amazon down, right? It doesn't fall apart. But you're not getting that rapid acceleration. Good looking vehicle, no gas in the tank. If they can take that slingshot, finally get that positive cross, I think you're looking at a daily squeeze that wants to go higher, potentially into about 185, 190. And then even better for Amazon, if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, there's the perfect squeeze. You got the structure, you got the gas, 12 out of 12. If the 4-hour squeeze fires long, that can help that daily chart get that positive cross. Get a little bit of oomph going behind it. And then even better than the 4-hour, we got ourselves a 2-day squeeze. So I want to try to find an entry in Google. I want to try to find an entry here in Amazon. Another one would be Meta. I've heard of her, but I never met her. Meta here. I mean, frankly, I think you put Amazon and Google first. Google's got everything. And Amazon's a bit closer to the positive cross. All right. Meta's had perfect structure for a long time now. All throughout that daily squeeze. That started back in mid-March. Structure's been perfect. It's got a good foundation, got a good backbone. The missing component here, momentum. They try to get the cross going, they fail. And now here we are with a slingshot, and if they can cross that, I think Meta should join the party. There is Netflix. And again, it's a bit of the same. You got the structure. They're trying to get that positive cross, right? Close but no cigar. And now on that current slingshot signal, they might be going forward again. So my top two here would be Amazon and Google. And then for Nvidia here, you might have heard of it. And the thing of it is, can a stock go higher with no momentum? It definitely can. We're looking at things from both a probabilities and a sustainability standpoint. Structure, momentum, stacked DMAs, a squeeze. That's a perfect combination. So as far as Nvidia goes, I'm not going to short it. I don't doubt the fact they can't take it higher. The first thing I'd have to see here would be that momentum cross. Or I'm sorry, not the official momentum cross. The first heads up would be the slingshot signal. We get our blue arrow going down here on the squeeze histogram. That tells us structure's good. You got to squeeze. And even though the gas tank might not be full, they're trying to fill it up. They've pulled over to the gas station, and they're trying to put a little gas in that tank. So yeah, my top two would have to be Amazon and Google. Let's go take a look here at Microsoft. Microsoft, and y'all know the game, right? Birds of a feather will flock together. If they break out the NQ, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Netflix, they're all probably going to go higher. In terms of the ideal setup, we have no daily squeeze. Structure is not bad, but it's neutral. and momentum is going lower for the time being. However, on the 3-day time frame, you crank it up a few notches. That's a perfect 3-day squeeze. Now, the thing we have to consider, all right, when we say, oh, it's a perfect setup, does that mean the trade has to work? Absolutely not. If that was the case, guys, we'd all be billionaires in a short time. If every time we got a squeeze, a buy signal, a 12 out of 12 A+ setup, and they all worked, we'd all have to trade for maybe 1 year, and then we buy a private island, and we would all retire billionaires. It's a numbers game. So when I look at a Microsoft, so to say, compared to a Google, Google might fall apart, Microsoft might break out. The numbers game would imply if I can take a name like Google or a name like Amazon 25, 50, 100 times in a row, and most importantly, I got the wind at my back from the indices, at the end of those 25, 50, 100 trades, I'm going to come out on top. We had an A+ setup in Best Buy, and you still got one here. That's actually pretty clean. Best Buy. I tell you what, guys, the first trade was so nice, we might end up doing it twice. But point being, Best Buy was an A+ setup. We bought it on Thursday. We flipped it out on Friday. It was a 70, 80% profit. We had a beautiful trade in Bank of America. No headaches, no stresses. Nice and easy. We had a slingshot squeeze here in Microsoft. We're buying it back here. We're flipping for a profit up here. We also had an A+ setup in Square. That one didn't work. It's a numbers game. A lot of times, the reason they don't work, it isn't so much a Square problem. It's a bit more that mama and papa market, the S&Ps and the QQQ, they're going the opposite direction. That's what happened on Monday and Tuesday. S&Ps pull back a bit. QQQ pulls back a bit. Everything I had on my watch list coming into the week took a pretty good hit. Square. All right, we took an L in Square. We took an L in Crowd. You had names out there like Lilly. Lilly holds up pretty good. There was Airbnb. Point I'm trying to make, we're playing a numbers game. You can make that numbers game work in your favor if you try to focus on two things. One, try to trade nothing but A+ setups, whatever you would deem that to be. And two, the timing component is you're trading the A+ setup when the S&Ps, when the QQQ are lined up for a push in that direction. When they're going the opposite direction, the probabilities game totally shifts. You got the wind at your back. These kinds of things can work, 70% of the time. You lose that wind at your back. They might only work 10% of the time. So first things first for the remainder of the week, all eyes on the S&Ps and all eyes on the NQ. The key level today, and we're already breaking it, for the S&P and the QQQ futures, the hourly 200 SMA. That's your red moving average. If they can keep price above the hourly 200, I think anybody that got short down here, if they haven't already covered their shorts, they are liable to get squeezed out. So you got the NQ breaking it. We got the S&P futures breaking through it. Any dip, any pullback from here, they got to defend that level. If they can defend that level, I'm back to getting long. Right. Then I'll crank up the scans. Then I'm looking for an entry in a Netflix, an Amazon, a Google. If they can't hold that level, that might warrant a little bit more patience. Alrighty. And then we did open up a futures trade last night in the crude oil futures. And remember, you can buy options on the futures. More often than not, I'm buying the futures contracts. If I'm thinking a bit more of a bigger picture swing trade, I do like the out the money calls or the out the money puts. So for crude oil here, we had a beautiful daily squeeze. Fire to the upside, took you towards your daily squeeze target. And what I'm looking for here, or from here rather, can they trigger that weekly squeeze to the upside? I think a really good looking weekly squeeze. There's your positive momentum cross. The gas in the tank, structure's bullish. We've got a big 3 buy signal. We got ourselves a 12 out of 12. The perfect report card. So last night in my mastery, we opened up a June expiration trade. So we got about, call it 3 months till expiration. And I bought the 90 strike calls. And I'm doing that with one caveat. The caveat being, before we break out, I kind of hope it pulls back to the 21 EMA. The weekly chart is perfect. As far as the timing of the entry here based on the daily chart, we are a little extended. Trading up here at that 3 ATR. Now, potentially, they take that weekly squeeze. It fires to the upside, and we keep on going without a bigger pullback. I wouldn't complain. My actual preference is they pull it back a bit. Then I can buy a little bit more. At the moment, I've got 1/4 of what I would like to be my total position size. If I want to end up with a $10,000 position size, I've got $2,500 invested for now. If they break it out and we're cruising towards 88 to 90 bucks, I'm not going to complain. I'll take the profit. If they do pull it back and we still got that perfect weekly squeeze, now I can buy a little bit more. I can try to get on my full position size, and then potentially I'm looking at a bigger trade. So we got the June expiration 90 calls, but again, the caveat is I kind of hope we pull back a bit. Then I can buy a little bit mo. So that's that, and then let's get the board going here. The squeeze radar. And let's see. So small caps get that monthly squeeze setting up. Let's go take a look at the money makers. Apple remains a hot mess. Tesla remains a hot mess. Google's beautiful. You got that squeeze in Meta. And where's Amazon? I'm missing my Amazon. And yeah, you got Amazon. And then for the sectors here, what do we got in the sectors? A lot of monthly squeezes. Energy. Let me take a look here at energy. Yeah, no pullback to be found. I think the first decent pullback in energy, that should make for a really good buy the dip opportunity. But that might take a little patience and a little bit of waiting here. Daily squeeze fired. The weekly squeeze fired. And Claudia, if you're in here, Claudia, I know you've been kicking ass here on energy. Good work on your behalf. But here's the big boy. It's so clean. When I look at that monthly chart, it makes me think I'm not going to get that pullback. Really, really good looking monthly squeeze. And I think eventually they're taking that into about 100 to 105. So what I would like to see happen, little bit of a pullback, try to fight for a better entry. Then I can latch onto that monthly squeeze, buy some out the money calls, and you let it rock. But they might not give me a pullback, so shame on me for sleeping on energy. What else we got? Materials, utilities. So a lot of monthly squeeze action. On the weekly charts, you've got ARC, XLY, IYR, and the utilities. And then a good handful of daily squeezes. XLK, XLV, XLP, transports, XLY, biotech, ARC, and the semiconductors, the good old chemies. Not bad. Good structure. Momentum could be better. And then Bitcoin. Bitcoin, yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't think I'll be in a big rush to buy Bitcoin. Not yet, at least. Right. Big momentum break, no slingshot. 2 closes under the 21 EMA, a couple lower time frame sell signals. It leaves a little bit to be desired. Bitcoin futures, on the other hand, little bit cleaner, a better hold of your 21 EMA. So my system would imply in a squeeze above that 21 EMA, lower time frame buy signals. Do I got to buy it today? I don't have to, but I can't short it. Can't be short in that. Where I would look to buy it would be on the first fresh slingshot signal. If I can get that baby blue arrow coming through, that might make for a good entry. So I'm curious, how does Coinbase look? It'd be the same game plan for Coin. It's got a daily squeeze. Let's hold that 21 EMA. Let's get a 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour buy signal going. Give me a little bit of slingshot action. Then they might want to take that back towards 280-ish. So there's Coin. Let's go take a look at MSTR. Same idea. I'd probably go with Coin or BITO, being that they have a daily squeeze. But same idea on MSTR, and then anything else here for us. We'll go look at the bigger watch list here. All right, we got a few to pick from. TSM, ASML, Qualcomm, Salesforce, Lilybell, ABBV, Starbucks would be a short. We'll check a few of these out. TSM. I like what I see. I like what I see, guys. Structure is bullish. We got the slingshot. 10 out of 12, a 2-day squeeze, a daily squeeze, and a 1 hour squeeze. I like it. ASML is pretty similar. I like the fact that TSM is above the trailing stop, the magenta line, where ASML is below it. We've got Qualcomm, or AMAT rather. Yeah, I think TSM over AMAT. They should move together, but TSM over ASML, TSM over AMAT, and then Qualcomm. Qualcomm looks good. Qualcomm looks really good. Good structure, 10 out of 12, above the trailing stop and the slingshot squeeze. But the key here, right, they've got to take that slingshot, get that positive cross, turn that into the official buy signal. What it should look like would be a mirror image of our Bank of America trade. We got the blue arrow. All right, that's just a heads up. You want to get that blue arrow to graduate or evolve, like a Pokemon, into the green arrow. They do that, you should be on the verge of a pretty nice move. So, mastery folks, the watch list for today, they get a scratch pad going here. And during my session, we'll crank up the scans a bit more. We got Amazon, Google. I'll throw in Netflix. I'm liking Qualcomm. And I'm going to throw on the Bitcoin futures. We've got crude oil. And then above all of that, the quote-unquote easy trade. Easy trade meaning it kind of cover all your bases. Would just be buying the QQQ. Buy the QQQ and Google breaks out, Amazon breaks out, Meta and Netflix break out. Your QQQ trade should do pretty good. When they open up the cash session here, got to get that blue arrow though. So that is the watch list, and we'll see what today brings. But it's got a little bit of a vibe of a short squeeze kind of morning. Now, granted, I'm a little frustrated. At the low of day yesterday, on my NQ short, I had about a $2,500, $3,000 profit. They took it back above that 21 EMA. I took it off for a break even. One big problem I used to have in a situation like that, I would get so hung up on the fact that I had a $3,000 profit. I'll be damned if they're going to shake me out of this trade. That is literally what creates a short squeeze, right? You get short, the market goes higher, you refuse to cut your short, and they make it painful, and at some point you got to throw in the towel. I would have loved, in hindsight, of course, to taken off that profit at the low of day. Right. I got a few bills coming up. I got to get a root canal next week. I would have loved the $3,000 of profit, but that simple system, keeping me out of trouble, daily squeeze, under the 21 EMA, lower time frame sell signals, you look for the short. As soon as they take it back above that 21 EMA, in a squeeze, and you've got lower time frame buy signals, you can't be short. 9.9 times out of 10, going to be a little bit uncomfortable. You got to have the willingness to flip. I had about 3K in profit. That ended up being a big dud. Right? Break even better than a bust. And then if you do the old flipperoo, you can get back on the right side of the train. But all right, guys, 15 minutes here until the open. I'll get caught up in the chat, see what you got for questions and chart requests. And for those of you in the mastery, we are live today at 10:30 a.m. Central. And we'll run our scans. We'll try to find a few good entries. And I do want to do a walkthrough of the indicator updates. You all should have gotten the email yesterday, so we'll walk through all the tweaks, all the changes, all the pretty colors here. I want to buy more NQ. I want to buy more NQ. All right, y'all, what do you got? Hey, what's up, Claudia? Good morning. ASML earnings coming up. Yeah, as a general statement, mid to late April, we got to get through earnings. And like I think we talked about on Monday, or maybe it was sometime last week, when you're about 2 to 3 to 4 weeks out from earnings, if you got a really good setup, like I think the best example is Google. But if you're a handful of weeks out from earnings and you've got a really good setup, it's a little window of opportunity to buy the out the money options for the week of earnings and not have to worry so much about that premium decay into the announcement, the calls, the puts. They tend to hold their implied volatility, right? They hold their premium. They don't decay like they would typically decay. The key there is you're trying to catch that push before the announcement and then take off that trade beforehand. Robert, DraftKings. What's up, Robert? Yes, let's see the 2-day squeeze here. Yeah, nice stuff. Nice stuff. Good structure. You got the buy signals. It is an A+ setup. Better yet, Rob, I like the risk reward. You buy it around 45. I think you take that trade off on a break of the 21. So you're taking it off around 42 to 43. So maybe $2 or $3 of risk in exchange for about a $5 or $6 upside move. I like it. Good call there. No, Maddie, good question. I don't use the Squeeze Pro. I'm a little biased, of course, but no, I just use the Big 3 squeeze. And granted, I love the Squeeze Pro. There would be no Big 3 squeeze without the Squeeze Pro and the original, the TTM squeeze. My whole goal here with the Big 3 squeeze, and y'all know it's the only thing I trade is a squeeze. That's been the case for, man, I'm not even sure how long. What the original squeeze, what the Squeeze Pro tells you is you've got compression. That given stock on that given time frame at some point soon is gearing up for a directional move. What I wanted to do for myself with the Big 3 squeeze was basically fill in a few of the gaps. Okay, the squeeze is compression. The squeeze can lead to a big directional move. How can I get really good at calling for two things? A, calling for the direction of that move. Is there a better chance the squeeze wants to fire long or short? And then B, the timing of that move. That was the goal here with the Big 3 squeeze. So when I look at a Starbucks, for example, okay, this one might be a bit obvious, but I can look at that and in a fraction of a second and say, all right, that's probably going to fire short. Structure is bearish. We got MACD below the 0 line. I've got a Big 3 sell signal. It's a negative 12. While I can look at a Qualcomm and say, all right, 10 out of 12. Structure is bullish. Much better chance that fires to the upside. More importantly, though, it'll tell me when I'm wrong. Kind of like Square. Square goes from a 12 out of 12 to a 5 out of 12. The structure label goes from from green to blue. The Big 3 label goes from green to blue. All right, that might not fire short, but it's not really fully locked and loaded for a big push higher. before that turns into a bigger problem and a bigger loss, I'm going to try to step aside and move on to greener pastures. So that was the goal there. Spags, what's going on, Spags? Palantir. Yeah, Palantir's a little rough around the edges here, man. And I think they had a downgrade. I think they had a downgrade on that candle right there. So technically the squeeze has fired short. We got that negative momentum cross. Now, structure is not bearish, but it's not bullish. Frankly, it's a -1. I found anytime I try to swing trade a +1, a +2, a +3, or I try to short a -1, -2, -3, they're really frustrating trades. Reason being is everything's a little bit mixed. Structure is not great, but it's not terrible. Those can be really tricky. So I think the key here for Palantir, they got to hold that daily 50. Try to crank out a couple closes back above that 21 EMA. And then I think they can try to stabilize that thing and then eventually try to take it higher. You do want to be careful, though, about fighting the squeeze. Now that it's fired short, if they can't get a couple closes above the 50, they might want to take that down to about 21 bucks. Although this morning, I think you're gapping up to about 24. So a pop back into about 24 would put that back in better standing. Not perfect, but I think from there you can avoid a further flush. Jeffrey, I like Meta. I don't like it as much as Amazon and Google. But yeah, I like it. All right, structure is bullish. We got a 10 out of 12. We got the slingshot squeeze. And they're gapping the old girl up to about 515. So there's your breakout level. Pretty much where we're going to open. Through that 515, 520-ish, that should be moving nicely. It'll all come down to the QQQ, but it should move nicely. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So Maddie, I'm not going to do a new class, so to say, on the big three updates. But I am going to talk with the team here at Simpler. We're going to find something on the schedule to do like a live stream. And we'll probably do that here on YouTube and in the Essentials room at Simpler. And we'll do a live stream and walk through all the changes, what's been tweaked, what's been removed, what's been added. And I'm going to try to get that on the schedule for as early as next week. So I'll keep you posted on that end. All right, y'all, couple mo here, IBM. Good hold of the 50, a good hold of your trailing stop. 7 out of 12, not bad at all. What I'd like to see today, another slingshot signal. Kind of like back there. Then they can get that party going. All right, guys, and make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, yeah, SMCI. How could I forget? Structure is good. We have an 8 out of 12, which is good, pretty good. We are below our trailing stop. We've got momentum below the 0 line. What I want to find on ASML to kind of kickstart the next leg higher will be a perfect lower time frame squeeze. Could be a 1 hour, a 2 hour, a 4 hour. However, with that being said, Oh, man. All right, guys, there we go. Claudia, always coming through clutch. 2-day squeeze is perfect. And if they can eventually fire that thing to the upside, that would kick off a move into about 1,300. So there might be a trade for us there in SMCI as well. Good call out. But all right, my friends, thank you as always. Always appreciative of your time. I appreciate you hanging out. Hope you found it helpful. I wish you all the best of luck today and tomorrow. Mastery, folks, I'll see y'all at 10:30 a.m. Central, and we'll keep the party going then. And for those of you in the Simpler Essentials room, I'll see you at 11:30 Central, and we'll do a bit more partying over there. Have a great day, guys and gals. See you tomorrow morning.